For this technology update, I'll be talking about new technology in rotary wing aircraft. This new technology is being pushed by the Future Vertical Lift program. The U.S. Army seeks to replace its fleet of UH-60 Blackhawks by 2030 and is also in need of a replacement for the already retired OH-58 Scout helicopter. Other branches are also looking to upgrade and universalize their fleets, making this one of the largest helicopter programs in history. Defense contractors are on the cusp of changing modern helicopter technology as we know it. Helicopters face four major limitations: speed, range, efficiency, and performance at high altitude. The limits to speed are caused by two factors: retreating blade stall and blade vibrations. Retreating blade stall is where the retreating blade has a lower relative blade speed, combined with an increased angle of attack, causing a stall and loss of lift. This is shown in the diagram to the right. The blade vibrations are caused when the advancing blade tip reaches supersonic speeds. Due to these two factors, helicopters typically max out around 200 miles per hour. Currently, most helicopters have a range of about 200 miles. In combat theaters, this requires several forward aerial refueling points. This exposes our troops and hinders combat effectiveness. This also presents limitations for shipborne aircraft. Ships must get closer to shore. Helicopters are also very inefficient aircraft. It is said they don't actually fly, rather they beat the air into submission. On top of inefficiencies in flight dynamics, they consume large amounts of fuel. Their flight time is limited to around 2 hours. This limits their time on target. When I served in Afghanistan, the enemy used this knowledge to their advantage. In one particular mission, ironically, securing a downed helicopter, the enemy waited to ambush us until after our armed escorts had to leave the target area due to low fuel. Helicopters also struggle to hover and land in the thin air at high altitudes. Most helicopters begin to struggle around 6,000 feet above sea level. Landing above this requires advanced training and has several dangers. In another incident in Afghanistan, our helicopter crash landed during a hot exfil from a mountain village. While the pilot was inexperienced, altitude was deemed a contributing factor. To combat these limitations, two designs have emerged as the most promising technologies. Both of these designs originate from concepts developed back in the 60s and have had limited production. The tilt rotor design uses rotating blades combined with wings. This allows the aircraft to fly like a plane, but take off and land like a helicopter. The U.S. Marines and Air Force currently use the V-22 Osprey. The V-22 entered service in 1999 and was known for several crashes, killing over 30 in testing. Today, it is the safest Marine Corps aircraft in combat. The V-280 Valor is a clean sheet design improving on the failures and lessons learned from the V-22. The other leading design is the coaxial rotor with push propeller. Originally, these aircraft were extremely complex and maintenance heavy. Modern advancements have simplified these aircraft. Currently, Russia uses two types of these aircraft, the Ka-32 heavy lift and the Ka-52 attack helicopter. I've worked personally with the Ka-32 in Afghanistan, and it is a remarkable aircraft. It should be noted, however, that neither of the Russian aircraft use a push propeller. The SP-1 Defiant uses Boeing's X-2 technology and drastically simplifies these once complicated aircraft. However, this helicopter still faces the complex dynamics of helicopter flight. The V-280 Valor is produced by Bell Helicopter in conjunction with Lockheed Martin. Its first flight was in December of 2017 and is still undergoing testing. It has exceeded expectations thus far, but many are still critical of its low speed maneuverability. This is due to the poor performance of the V-22. However, to date, there have been no crashes with the V-280 Valor, and it's showing excellent maneuverability at low airspeeds and at a hover. The V-280 has some remarkable advantages. Its top speed is 320 miles an hour. That's well over 100 miles faster than the Army's current helicopters. It has a combat range of 580 to 920 miles, tripling the range of current helicopters. Its low speed maneuverability is vastly superior to the V-22 Osprey. This is because of improvements in fly-by-wire controls and more power. The V-280 actually uses the same length rotors as the V-22, even though it's half the size. All of this makes the aircraft far more efficient than traditional helicopters. Another advantage that's hard to overlook is the future potential of tilt rotor design. We are still learning how to fly these aircraft, and this technology has room for massive advancement. There are also several major disadvantages. This aircraft costs twice as much as a UH-60 Blackhawk. Bell says they can get the price to $30 million at full production, compared to the $20 million price tag of the UH-60. These aircraft also require larger landing areas and are less maneuverable than regular helicopters. For example, trying to pick an injured climber off a cliff would be nearly impossible in the V-280. These aircraft are also very complex and require heavy maintenance schedules. Currently, UH-60 units maintain 82% readiness, which is a tough mark to match, much less surpass. Bell also lacks the infrastructure to produce these aircraft at the perceived demand, raising the question of if they could deliver the required demand if selected. The common remark about tilt rotors is that it can travel far and fast, but can it survive the environment at the objective? This video shows why the V-22 Osprey has such a bad reputation for poor performance at low airspeeds. In this video, the V-280 Valor demonstrates low airspeed maneuverability. This is a vast improvement over the previously shown V-22 Osprey. The Boeing Sikorsky SB-1 Defiant uses Boeing's X2 technology, which Boeing has been testing for decades. This coaxial rotor with a push propeller functions very similar to current helicopters. The first flight of the Defiant was in March of 2019. It is still very early in its testing and has yet to demonstrate many of its capabilities. Unfortunately, one of the demonstrators has already had a hard landing due to a software glitch. Considering the software issues with the Boeing 737 MAX, this is challenging Boeing's credibility. However, Boeing is radically moving forward with testing, and it is rumored the Army is very interested in their design. The SB-1 Defiant has several advantages. This aircraft is extremely maneuverable, far superior to current helicopters. It has a top speed of 290 miles per hour, as it is not affected by retreating blade stall. The technology is less complex and has lower maintenance requirements compared to conventional helicopters. This improves readiness and lowers costs. The price is yet to be released, but is expected to be comparable to the UH-60. One of its biggest advantages is its ability to scale the technology across all spectrums. The technology can be used for smaller attack aircraft and larger transportation aircraft. Having a similar airframe reduces cost and streamlines training of pilots and maintenance staff. The aircraft also is much more quiet than current helicopters. The Defiant is also faced with many challenges. Its speed is limited by blade vibrations caused when the advancing rotor blade reaches supersonic speeds. Until this can be solved, these type of aircraft face another speed barrier. Another risk is the two counter-rotating blades colliding. As with conventional helicopters, the SB-1 is not very fuel efficient, limiting its range to 264 miles. While this is a huge improvement, it's still far from the range the Valor offers. This video demonstrates some of the capabilities provided by X2 technology. Note, this is the S97 Raider, a smaller version of the SB-1 Defiant.
So it's a bit of what we do. You can do things where you'd want to target something, for example, and you can sort of hang there better than on a traditional helicopter. It gives you more flexibility in how to operate. Straight up, like, speed is going to be the advantage. It's a lot faster than you can go in a traditional helicopter. On X2, you're able to go faster without rotating the fuselage. So it's a level attitude that you maintain throughout, you know, your speed sweep, if you will. think the biggest difference between a fundamental, like traditional helicopter and the X2 is that prop that's on the back, right? It's taken really like the best part of like a vertical STOVL, like a Harrier or the new Joint Strike Fighter that can, it's this jet that can take off or land vertically and then go forward. X2 and the Raider can do that indefinitely, the same as a helicopter, until it's time to go fast, and then it operates better in that regime as well.
Forget everything you know about helicopters. X2 technology combines the best elements of low-speed helicopter performance with the cruise performance of an airplane.
What does this mean for the future of rotary wing aircraft? Typically, technology used in military applications becomes mainstream. Whichever aircraft is selected will likely transition to the civilian sector. The tilt rotor design will continue to improve and could one day replace helicopters as we know them. However, currently it's not a great helicopter or airplane. The X2 technology increases helicopters' performance, but still faces many of the same barriers of conventional helicopters. Many argue it's comparing apples and oranges, which leads to the possibility that both designs may be selected for different roles. In any case, the decision made in these next few years will change rotary wing aircraft as we know it.